the beat, emoji and farmer.
Hello children, my name is Mrs. Winifred. I'm a teacher of Boston British International School right here in Benin City. And I'm here to give you an insight into literature in English. I would like you to get your pen and your paper, sit back, relax, and join me as I take you on this journey of literature. Now, I would like to teach you by giving you the introduction of literature. What is literature? Literature is defined as a method of expression. It is also a work of creative imagination that mirrors life and the society. Now, that brings us to functions of literature. 1. It helps you to learn about your culture and other people's culture. 2. It teaches us morals. Number 3. It gives us insight and understanding as we put ourselves in the conditions of the characters we read about. And 4th, reading works of literature helps us to improve on our use of English, both speaking and writing. Now, children, when you read works of literature, they are bound to help you to improve on your use of English, both in speaking and in writing. Now, I would like to introduce you to one of the texts that is being used by Junior Secondary School 3 in literature. It is titled Determination by Victor Ogwejofo. Now, some of the characters you will hear as I explain to you the story are Amadi, the chief character, Uncle Obi, Uncle Uche, Mr. Uzo, Mrs. Okafor, Bamidele, Mrs. Iyabo, Mr. Okereke, Chidi, Jakande, Ekene, and Umukoro. Now, this story is meant to teach us that for us to succeed in life, we have to be determined and hard-working. The author uses the chief character, Amadi, to teach us this lesson. Now, Amadi, at the beginning of the play, got admission into St. Patrick's College, Asaba. He has no one to sponsor him. He goes to his uncle, Uncle B, who is a businessman. Uncle B tells him that he cannot help him by sponsoring him in school because of the hatred he has for Amadi's father. Then Amadi goes to Uncle Uche, who is a transporter. Uncle Uche tells him that he cannot help him because he has used all his money on a business transaction. Amadi goes home disappointed. He meets his mother, Mrs. Okafor. He tells her that both his uncles refuse to sponsor him. And his mother tells him that her father always tells her that what a child climbs an iroko tree, he cannot see what the father sees when he sits down on a chair. Now, he tells her that he would like to go to Mr. Uzo, who is married to his sister, to also seek his assistance. He goes to Mr. Uzo, shows him his results. Mr. Uzo is impressed with his results and decides that he will sponsor Amadi in school. He tells Amadi to go home and get his things ready to go to school. Amadi became very happy. When he went home, he gathered his things and he resumed classes at St. Patrick's College. Now, when Uncle Uzo continued paying his school fees, he is visited by his friend called Jidofo. Jidofo tells Mr. Uzo, "Why are you sponsoring this boy? Did you not pay his sister's bride price?" He said, "Yes." "Did you not finish all the rites you had to do when you were marrying his sister?" He said, "Yes." He said, "How are you sure that this boy you're sponsoring will help you when he graduates from school?" And he tells his friend, "You are very correct. I too have children, and my children are still in primary school." And he tells his friend Jidofo that he will take his advice and stop sponsoring Amadi. And he actually stopped sponsoring Amadi. Amadi couldn't continue school, so he had to go back to the village and help his mother in her cocoyam farm. Now he found with her for so many years, but money was not coming in. He decided to go to Lagos. He tells his mother about his idea to go to Lagos, but she disagrees with him. But to avoid quarreling with her son, she tells him, okay, give me time to think about it. A month went by, 2 months, 3 months, his mother was still thinking about it, and Amadi realized that his mother would never allow him go to Lagos. So one day, he tells her that he's sick. He can't go to the farm with her. She goes to the farm with other children. Now, Amadi packs his bag, takes an Okada, and leaves for Lagos. Now, when he got to Lagos, he knew no one. He met Bamidele, a wheelbarrow pusher, and he tells Bamidele his story. Bamidele decided to help him because he understands Amadi's story. He took Amadi home to his mother, Mrs. Yabo. He tells her her story, his story, and she accepted that he can stay with them. Now, for Amadi to convince Mrs. Yabo that he's a good boy, that night he was asked to pray. He prayed like a prayer warrior. And the way he prayed convinced Mrs. Yabo that this boy is a good boy, and she allowed him to stay with them. Amadi joined Bamidele in wheelbarrow pushing at the market. But because nobody at the market knew him, he wasn't making enough money. But he didn't give up. He continued. And gradually, he became popular in the market. And then he started making 1,000, 1,500 each day he goes out to work. Now one day, it occurred to him that he can approach some of these men in the market and ask them to allow him be their boy. So he went to Mr. Okereke and told him that he would like to be his wheelbarrow errand boy. That at the end of the day, he can calculate the amount he owes him and pay him the money. Mr. Okereke agreed because he actually needed someone who can be helping him carry loads from the shop to the storage house and also help customers carry their loads to the car park. And at the end of the day, he always pays Amadi. As they continue to relate to themselves, he saw how honest Amadi was, and he started to give him the keys to his storehouse. He would tell him, go there, bring me some goods, and bring to the shop for me. And Amadi would go and come back and give the man exactly what he wants. The man became impressed and decided to help Amadi. One day, at the end of the day, he told Amadi, I need you to go home. Tomorrow when you're coming home with your clothes, I want you to be one of my boys. At the end of some years, I will pay you an amount of money to settle you and to put you in business. Amadi was very happy. He went home and he shared the news with Bamidele and his mother, Mrs. Yabo. They too were happy. Amadi went to live with Mr. Okereke. Now while he was there, Mr. Okereke made him a manager. This made his other boys angry. Shidi, Jakande, and Ekene were not happy that he just brought Amadi and has made him the manager of all his businesses. They became angry and they decided to free Amadi. Now when Amadi traveled to Port Harcourt on behalf of Mr. Okereke, they stole 100,000 naira and they hid it in Amadi's bag. When Amadi came back from Port Harcourt, they took the money and showed it to Mr. Okereke and told him that Amadi stole this money, that they found it in his bag when they were arranging the house. Mr. Okereke believed them. When Amadi came, he asked him about the money. Amadi said he doesn't understand what he was talking about. He beat Amadi and he chased him out of the house. Now Amadi went back to Mrs. Yabo and they explained to her what happened. Mrs. Yabo and her son went to Mr. Okereke's house that night and he accepted them, they sacked them, and she told him to allow her question the 3 boys separately. He agreed. Now when she questioned them separately, the answers they gave were very different. And that was when Mr. Okereke realized that these boys were lying, that they were the ones who stole the money and not Amadi. So he called the police and they arrested Chidi, Jakande, and Ekene while he brought Amadi back to his house. After 4 years, he settled Amadi. He gave him a store at Dumota, gave him 1 million naira, and told the suppliers to always supply Amadi goods. Amadi, as he continued in the business, became rich. He went back to school and he came out with first class in the pharmacy department in Unilag. Now he became a pharmacist as well. Amadi became a good philanthropist. He sponsored those who didn't have the money to sponsor themselves to school. He took care of the poor and even helped Uncle Obi, Uncle Uche, and Mr. Uzo, who refused to help him when he needed help. He gave them 5 million naira each and the Camry car each for each of them. And then the king, in order to show appreciation for everything Amadi was doing in the village, gave him a chieftaincy title, titled Ochendo, the title given to the richest man in their village. Now children, I hope you enjoyed this story and I hope you learned one or two things from the life of Amadi. I will give you some questions to answer and I hope that if you are able to answer them. If you have any questions on the story, please feel free to paste your questions to us on our page. Thank you. Okay children, I would like you to answer these questions and give us your answers. Number 1, how long did Amadi farm with his mother? Number 2, in 5 sentences, mention how Amadi survived in Lagos. Number 3, what is the name of Amadi's village? Number 4, who tried to encourage Amadi to steal from Mr. Okereke? And number 5, how did Mr. Okereke discover the truth over the stolen 100,000 naira? Now children, you will find the answers to these questions in the text determination. Go through your text and you will find your answers to the question. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.